So, welcome back to the Methodical Muse podcast. This is Christine Curtis, your Methodical Muse, the host, the only host, and I hope you're doing well. There's this phrase called the oldest daughter syndrome. Now, I'm not sure if it's a clinical term or just something society decided to coin. However, it's a interesting thing to unpack for me, as I am the oldest daughter. And I want to discuss, and sometimes, what I feel, the conversation I actually had and I unpack with God about what it means to have that title, to be in that position, the pros and the cons, and how we move through and forward in it, right? So, episode 9, it's called The Price of Strength. So, I had a dream, as I do often. I have actually a record of most of my dreams anyway, that go back to like 2018. Didn't really make much sense, but I think I understood the meaning. And in the dream, I was with two different families, and in both, I didn't necessarily belong. I wasn't chosen, I wasn't claimed, but I was fully present. Hopeful, helpful, capable, but not held. And after the dream, I've been trying to figure out also where that low energy I was experiencing was coming from. I honestly thought it might have been depression. Wondered if it was burnout. But when I sat with it long enough, I realized it was something deeper. I had been carrying a role that I never actually signed up for. The oldest daughter, the pseudo-matriarch, the steady one. I became a responsible human before I actually became a woman. I learned how to hold things together before I learned how to even hold and make room for myself. I developed autonomy, developed independence, resilience, but I never relinquished the expectation or the weight that came with these things so early on. Because somewhere inside me was this brief: if I put this down, everything will fall apart. So in my teens and my adolescence, even into my adulthood, I continued to carry these things. I kept managing, I kept solving, even though I was exhausted or tired. And I honestly thought I was so tired from working so much, but it wasn't from that. It's because I was holding too much. From being an emotional adult in rooms that still treated me as if I also didn't need care and attention. From being seen as capable, but not tender. From being seen as strong, but never really supported. And the truth is, being the strong one isn't always an honor. Sometimes it's grief. And honestly, there's a specific kind of inheritance that the oldest daughters receive, which isn't money or property. It's responsibility. I became the translator, the mediator, the example, the emotional regulator. I watched the adults. I learned their patterns. I anticipated their moods. I stepped in where there were gaps. And everyone around me applauded the maturity. But no one asks, how did I get to be so mature so soon? I built a healthy autonomy, so I thought. I learned how to function alone. I created stability within myself, and I was a problem solver. I still am to this day. But autonomy without softness turned into isolation, and independence without support turned into exhaustion. Because you never get to practice putting the weight down. And then your nervous system honestly forgets what safety even feels like anymore. Strength became my identity, and my identity became my obligation. And thank God for therapy, because here's the part that I had to admit. I just didn't carry the weight because I had to. I carried it because I felt that I was the glue. I believe that if I stopped managing, if I stopped fixing, if I stopped anticipating, things would crumble. Family dynamics, relationships, expectations, jobs, dreams. And maybe that belief was true at one point, but at some point it stopped being an accurate depiction of my life. And the hard truth is, or rather, the harder truth is, some of us are tired not because life is impossible, because we're still operating from a place of survival that no longer serves us. It honestly expired many, many years ago, but we're still thinking we have to be the emergency responder. We have to be the steady one. We have to have the backup plan. And nobody realizes we're tired because we never stopped performing. And that's the price. It's not just fatigue, it's invisibility. So, how do we redefine what strength looks like? Maybe it's saying, I'm not the only pillar in this house. What if it's letting grown people carry their own weight? Maybe it's allowing yourself to be disappointed when it falls apart. Maybe it's allowing yourself to be disappointed because it falls apart. Maybe it's resting without feeling guilty. Maybe it is an afternoon nap without the remorse of not getting your to-do list checked off. Maybe it is saying no. Maybe it's saying not today. Maybe it's saying I don't want to now or never. Maybe it's affirming that what you have always felt is actually valid. I'm learning that if everything falls apart when I step back, then it's probably never stable to begin with. I don't even want to operate a business that's solely dependent on me. I'm not responsible for holding structures together because I know I didn't build it alone. To the oldest daughters, to the high functioning women, the ones who are always fine, you are allowed to release the roles that kept you safe but no longer keep you whole. You are allowed to be supported. You're allowed to need someone, and you can absolutely put down the weight. And if the world collapses, guess what? At least you still have your sanity. Because sometimes the world needs to collapse in order for it to recognize that you're tired. So if you're still listening and that resonated, and you feel that quiet tiredness, not dramatic or loud, but that subtle pause, I want you to ask yourself, what am I still carrying that I don't have to? Because strength doesn't mean self-abandonment. Responsibility doesn't mean self-erasure. And being capable doesn't mean you have to carry everything alone. You are more than what you do for others. You're more than your functionality. And a version of you that gets to be held, supported, and seen deserves air to breathe too. So remember, strength is powerful, but it's not a solo pursuit. If nothing else, I beg you to stay methodical and stay magical. And please never forget that the only thing that lasts are the beautiful lessons. I'll see you guys next week.